I hit the ground, running on a borderline. Blue in the face and running out of time. No air in my lungs, just a room full of fright. And a father holding breath in the hospital light. See, he'd already watched one daughter slip away, and he needed a miracle to fix the damage that day. But when I finally gasped, when I finally breathed, I wasn't the comfort that he thought he'd received. 2 years old, sitting still in the chair, as he poured the sun in straight into my hair, bleaching my youth just to see if she'd show, pouring his poison through a funnel down my throat. He wanted an angel from the very first breath, but left a real survivor dealing with his mess. The match has been struck, the drywall is torn. Oh, welcome to the storm. You wanted an angel, a ghost from the skies, so I became the villain just by being alive. You shattered the throne and you locked up the gate, and turned all your worship to heavy-handed hate. How do you breathe when the miracle's gone? How do you stand when the shadow is long? I screamed through the house just to prove I was real, but you wanted an angel. Yeah, you didn't want to heal. 12 years old and the haunting set in. The story went cold and the ice started thin. The boys cut the rope, yeah, they ran for the coast, and left a 13-year-old dealing with the ghost. The house got so quiet, the dishes would shake. You blame me for the room that they managed to make, and I screamed right back, cause it wasn't damn fair to choke a kid's chest in your suffocating air. I can still see the ships before the shadows arrive, tuned to a frequency where nobody survives. He wanted an angel from the very first breath, but left a real survivor dealing with his mess. The match has been struck, the drywall is torn. Welcome to the storm. You wanted an angel, a ghost from the skies, so I became the villain just by being alive. You shattered the throne and you locked up the gate, and turned all your worship to heavy-handed hate. How do you breathe when the miracle's gone? How do you stand when the shadow is long? I screamed through the house just to prove I was real, but you wanted an angel. No, you didn't want to heal. I learned to read the weather by the way he breathed, predicting all the storms before the sky received. The pressure in the kitchen, the tightening of his jaw. I